Welcome everybody to Tommy's Outdoors number 9 with big smile on my face because as you can hear we have intro music. Intro music provided to us kindly by 4uwedesign.com. That's number 4 uwedesign.com. And these guys are making unique pennants and personalized cards and cake toppers and the like. So go ahead and check their website. It's 4uwedesign.com. Also, I would like to thank Mike Duggan from Mike Duggan Firearms, one of our guests. Mike Duggan's Firearms is a gun shop and really also shop for stalkers, where you can buy rifles and all the accessories and gun cleaning products, gun safes, ammunition, as well as other stuff for hunters and stalkers like knives and the likes. The shop is located in Killarney, County Kerry, in the Republic of Ireland. I would like also thank Swarovski Optics and Paul Innes from Swarovski Optics. Just take a controversial bit out of that. The podcast is not sponsored by Swarovski Optics, but I'm kind of name dropping them because it sounds nice. And also, Paul was my second guest on today's podcast, which was recorded after Swarovski Optics Open Days, which were organized by Mike Duggan. And we had an opportunity to try and see and try and look and touch and play with the whole variety of Swarovski optics, binoculars, rifle scopes, spotting scopes, camera lenses, photo camera lenses, also phone adapters, tripods, you name it. If it had a Swarovski Optics logo on it, it was there. And we could go ahead and try it out. And so I took these two guys, and after they maybe not I took these two guys, but they kindly agreed to be my guests on the podcast. And so after the open day was finished, we get in the car and essentially we recorded a short podcast in a car. So I hope you don't mind noises coming from here and there. The quality of sound is as good as you can get recording in the car. Nevertheless, I think it's very interesting podcast, a lot of information. So without further ado, Mike Duggan and Paul Innes. All right, I'm here with two gentlemen after Swarovski Open Day. Maybe, guys, you introduce yourself.
I'm Mike Duggan from Mike Duggan Firearms.
Hi, and I'm Paul Innes here from Swarovski UK Optics Division. I'm based in Scotland, and I'm over here in Ireland. Ireland's my area as well, and I'm here helping out Mike Duggan from Killarney for a range day. Yeah, it's been a good day.
Yeah, that was a fantastic day, and I knew from Mike that you guys doing that. We had an opportunity to look at like immense amount and wide range of Swarovski optics, spotting scopes, rifle scopes, binoculars, rangefinders. What was the biggest what was the biggest interest in which?
Yeah, in Swarovski ourselves, we launched last March 2017 the new Swarovski DS, which is a gun sight with rangefinder built into it. It was available to the market July 2017. So this is the first time I think Mike has kind of sort of shown it to all his sort of regular customers and what have you. So I would say there was quite a lot of interest in that in particular. Always at these range days as well, the spotting scopes go down well as well. Just obviously show the guys with a sort of high magnification spotting scope what it's capable of doing over these sort of long distances. One of the spotting scopes is capable of giving you a magnification up to 60 or 70 times magnification compared to a standard pair of binoculars,
that's unreal when you look at it.
Exactly, compared to 8 or 10 magnification.
Guys, so on a spotting scope, straight or angled?
Definitely angled.
Angled without a doubt, yeah.
Why?
I think just for ease of viewing, it's much easier to focus your eye on it. Your neck isn't as much strain. You can keep the scope lower. You can look through it for much longer without any major problems. Whereas with straight, you have to bend your legs down a lot and force your head upwards to look. It's just more comfortable, I think, anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
And does that reflect the sales of and the range of the scopes?
Yeah, I mean sales. I would imagine I think Mike probably has sold nothing but angled spot and scopes. Us as a company, we probably sell in the UK. I would say UK and Ireland maybe around about maybe 70% are angled, 30% straight. Yeah.
Right. So what if any are benefits of straight scope?
The benefit is maybe for somebody that's going to maybe using it more for maybe bird observation. They may use it in a hide, and often in a hide they maybe have a clamp that's actually at sort of eye level. So with the straight, they can kind of get it up to eye level. But reiterating what Mike's saying as well, I personally myself, I think the angle's better. It's more comfortable just to kind of look down into it. A lot of people are using it for digiscoping these days as well. So if they're attaching their camera to it, some people tend to find it's a little bit foreign when they attach the camera on at an angle. Whereas going on straight, it's more like having a lens on the front of your camera. So again, a lot of people maybe go for it with straight when they're using it maybe for digiscoping and particularly using a camera.
And you show the adapters that you can use your phone, and you attach the phone into the scope, and that's
right. Yeah, we've got iPhone adapters as well, which will obviously hook up to any of the Swarovski equipment, including the binoculars and in particular the telescopes. I mean, today when we were on the range, the guys were shooting at the gongs at 300 meters, and several of the guys were around the iPhone while the guys were taking the shot at the 300 gongs, and they were obviously all looking at the impact point on the phone whilst it was connected to the scope. So that's quite fun.
So you mentioned bird watching. So the question I have is Swarovski Optics focuses on stalkers as a market, or stalkers and bird watching? Because we had a quick chat earlier on, and we were talking about the marine binoculars. So there's not really anything specific for marine
there's
optics.
No. I mean,
so is the target audience mainly stalkers and tactical shooters?
In the hunting market, I mean, we have three sectors, to be honest. We have the hunting market, which can be hunting, stalking, a long-range target. It can be woodland stalk. It can be guys that are maybe foxing. But then we have the birding fraternity, and for nature observation, which is obviously very important as well. And then we have a middle market as well, which is it's like travel and leisure, which is the kind of sort of people that are kind of in between, that don't do hunting and are not maybe into nature. They maybe go on a nice trip abroad and maybe use their optics binocular from maybe going out for a walk. They're hill walking, or travelling aspects.
Okay, gotcha. So we had a opportunity to look at a wide range of optics with built-in rangefinders. And so my question is, would you prefer rangefinder built into the rifle scope or binoculars? What do you think is?
I think it's down to the individual, really. I think it's. They've both got their places, really, because a binocular with a rangefinder you can take out for a walk and use the rangefinder. It's quite a handy tool to actually even just for using for leisure use, not necessarily hunting. Whereas the DS, which is the gun sight with the rangefinder, you couldn't really take that out for a walk, but it has its place as well in the hunting. When you're out hunting, it's a very, very handy tool. Mike, what do you think?
Absolutely. I suppose the only thing I could add to that is from the safety point of view, estimating the range of an animal and maybe pointing a firearm that you don't intend to shoot at is not always the best thing to do. Whereas if you can identify your animal and its distance with a range-finding binocular, then switch to the rifle and take your shot. But again, having the rangefinder built into the scope is also so handy, because your bullet drop compensation and you know your distance. It helps in every way, but for safety, the binocular with the rangefinder is definitely the way to go.
So is there any reason or any advantage of having a rangefinder as a separate unit, as a separate device, not built into any of the other optics?
I think more and more the rangefinders are starting to phase out a bit. Most guys tend to buy a binocular and a rangefinder because they realise they need both. Then after a while they figure out that, if I can get the binocular with the rangefinder, it's one less thing to carry, one less thing to lose when I'm out on the hill, less gadgetry, less batteries to be thinking about. So for me, I can see more people going with the rangefinder binocular and selling off the rangefinders.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. I'm the one who's carrying rangefinder and binoculars, and I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
You have two things, and they're hanging around,
Yeah.
and then you're
It's more to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I have a question about Swarovski, because what I noticed, like, usually there are people who prefer different brands, and they're all this. With Swarovski, what I find different, that even people who prefer other brands, when mentioned Swarovski, is like, yeah, that's the top of the range. That's the best, right? There's no question. So there's a lot of conversation about the equipment. It's like, the price and price to quality, yada yada yada. But if you want the absolutely best of the best, that's Swarovski. How the company achieved that status, and how they build up to that point.
Yeah, I think it's maybe part of the complete package, you could almost call it, because it's the brand, it's the product, it's the technology that's in it, it's the development of it. As a company, we don't sit still. We're constantly trying to upgrade and improve. Another aspect to consider as well, which we are, I would say, number one, don't quote me on that, is just reliability and after sales as well.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of guys talk about, don't they, Mike? It's just after sales.
There's no doubt the backup service and the after sales service is without a doubt the best in the industry. I've sent countless numbers of units back, and there's backup service. They come back. Guys send back binoculars that have been well used, and they don't even think they're the same units. They come back. When they come back, they're so well repaired and so well finished.
Right.
So you won't get that anywhere else. There's no doubt.
And it's not necessarily, like Mike's saying there, it's come back. Sometimes it's free of charge, sometimes it's a charge, but it's not. It's cheaper to get it revamped, and as Mike's saying there, it comes back like brand new. And they may have to spend €200 or €300 on it, but I mean, sometimes, as I say, it does come back free of charge. Yeah. But that is certainly one of the key features with us, is our backup service.
So it's not like you're trying to say that in the long run you're really not paying that much as you would imagine on the initial purchase price. Correct. Because then everything that goes after, you have that unit for many years to come.
That's correct. Yeah, they almost say, I think there's a saying as well, you buy into Swarovski, you're buying into it for life. Once you've got it, you ain't going to move sideways or backwards. You're going to stick to Swarovski. And I mean, I've got stories there, again, Mike will back me up on this, that some guys there maybe have had a set of Swarovskis for 10-15 years, and then they trade them in, and they maybe end up, even as a trade-in, getting the same amount of money that they maybe spent 10-15 years ago. There's nothing that kind of holds its value.
So they're not depreciated.
Exactly. It's not sort of the backside, as we would say, is not falling out of the sort of price of it. It holds its value, and there's a very second-hand. Michael, back me up. He's on the front line. There's a very second-hand, buoyant second-hand market, isn't there, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've never an issue taking in second-hand Swarovski because you're guaranteed to sell it. In fact, most of the time I'm asked, would you have second hand? And I don't, because it goes out so quick.
Yeah. Right.
And a lot of people, the funny thing is, they have lesser quality optics, and they always say to me that once you go to Swarovski, you can never go back.
Right.
Because anything else you'll ever get won't be as good. Yeah. And you'll never settle for anything else. So once you bring yourself up to Swarovski, that's what you're going to have for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You mentioned the development. So how much is still left to do in the industry?
Can't tell you that.
Yeah, but I suppose the question comes from for the regular guys, like, okay, you have a very good glass, and then you fill the tube of the binoculars or scope with the gas and argon or whatever else. So what those development units are doing. So do you think that there's still a lot to do?
I think there is. Yeah, I mean, us as a company, as I say, we're not standing still, and I would say that the future's bright, really. And it's there's development currently going on, and for years to come. And as a company, we just can't sit still. You've got to kind of be looking at the kind of next level and beyond. I mean. Yeah.
So if you can imagine top of the range Swarovski binoculars 20 years from now.
Yeah.
what you expect them, in which areas they would be much better than the units that they buy today?
Yeah, it's difficult to answer that, to be honest, because we're at the kind of sort of the cream of sort of optics as we stand. So I mean, the mind boggles really to think where you can actually go from here. But yeah, we said that 10, 15 years ago. Where can you go from here? But now another 10, 15 years on, we're seeing the developments coming through. So it's like everything. The mind boggles really, and you've got a lot sort of technology and development just run its course, and patience. Be patient with it, and we'll be sitting having this conversation in 10 years' time. And
if you think back 20 years ago, who would have thought that there would be a scope that would figure out all the bullets drop for you? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even dreamt of.
That you link with your phone, you Bluetooth your phone and put the information in that. So
I suppose where I'm heading at, there is at the moment there is not one area where you can say like, well, this is really area where we can improve going forward.
Yeah, I think there's always room for improvement. It's got to be. It's got to be. But you get to a level and you think, how can it be done? But my clever colleagues in Austria will obviously how would you say prove us wrong, really. It's they're at the forefront of development, and they're the best in the world, really. I mean, the team out there are the best you can get. It's they're the creme de la creme, as we say in Scotland. So leave it to them and let them kind of develop it and take the development forward, I would say. There's definitely there are going to be things coming out, no doubt, in the future, because if we just sat still, we'd all go out of business.
Absolutely. Listen, so now one of the maybe simpler question, the question that many of the listeners who are starting their adventure into hunting and optics will ask, and this question I had: would you, for stalking like we have in Ireland, would you choose 8x or 10x binoculars?
I'll let Mike go for that. On you go, Mike.
Well, if you're a deer stalker and you're preliminary hunting early morning and late evening, if you're doing a seek a deer, they're nocturnal animal, you're going to get an hour in the morning, maybe half an hour in the evening. Definitely 8 power is the way to go, because you want maximum light transmission. Long distance isn't that necessary. The cover in Ireland means you'll be looking at closer distances, so definitely for low light seek a deer hunting in Ireland, 8 power is the way to go. But if you're a hunter who's hunting in the Wicklow Mountains, where you're or Donegal, where there's maybe red deer across a hill, maybe the 10 power binoculars are the way to go for the distance. Red deer and so nocturnal, you can shoot them in the middle of the day. So the higher magnification binoculars would be an advantage then.
I'll be honest with you, I think it was a unique opportunity today to take a binoculars 8x, 10x, 12x and compare directly on that. There is not that much difference, at least to my eye, between 8 and 10. Between 12 and 8, there is much more difference. Would you agree with that, or would you say that I'm just not sophisticated?
No, I think you're right. During in the bright hours of the day, 8 to 10, it's almost impossible to see any difference. Coming on for dark, maybe the last 10-15 minutes as the light really starts to go down, the lower powered binoculars, which allow more light, you'll see the advantage then. But for daylight, you was 8 to 10, no difference. 12 power, a lot of it it's harder to hold them steady. And as you with 12x binoculars, you make more shakes in the magnification. So that can often people say they're not as bright, but it's just to hold it steady. But without a doubt, 8 power is the way to go for general use around.
For general use,
I think so.
I have an 8 power, and the reason I choose an 8 power is because I'm often out at sea angling, and again because of the stability. 8 power is really too much for sea, but it's
more comfortable to use.
It is.
I think that's key. With a 12 magnification or above, it's more difficult to sort of manage, really. And the more you try to manage it, the more difficult it gets to use, and the harder you try, it seems to even emphasise the shake that a little bit more. So with the higher magnification, that's
gotcha.
It's okay, but as Mike's saying, I would just reiterate what he said there. I would agree what he said about the 8s and the 10s comparing them.
Okay, so if anyone wants to look at the range of Swarovski optics, is very encouraged by our podcast. What's the best way? Where is the best way to go, and what they should do? Who should they call?
Call Mike Duggan Firearms. I can
Come on, Mike.
Whatever they want to be seen, I can arrange it all. Have the range there, and they can see whatever they want to see.
Yeah. And from my experience, I'm obviously buying at Mike's shop as well. It's a great place and very convenient opening hours, so you don't have to take a day off or anything. You can drive down after work because you open late.
That's right.
And you have a range of guns and all the bits and bobs for stalking, gun safes, gun cleaning products, and ammunition and all that. So. And obviously, Mike, also you have a full range of Swarovski optics as well.
Yeah, it's all there. The scopes and binoculars all there to be seen. EL rangefinder, and the SLC range, and the CL pocket. I have the whole lot there. So
okay.
Yep.
All right. I think again a key as well. Mike, just to reiterate, Mike obviously is offering that bit of service as well. That's key. He's on the ball with his service, and again that's going back to the same sort of ethos that Swarovski have. Mike's replicating that, I would say, in his store. He's offering the same kind of sort of backup and sort of face to face, and if you've got any issues or that, and even technical questions and that with hunting aspects and that, Mike's your man to answer that.
Sure.
And
give us maybe one of those stories about customer support.
Customer support, gosh,
sort of my binoculars burnt inside my car.
Okay.
And you replaced it.
Actually, probably back about when I was actually involved in retail before I was working for Swarovski. I sold Swarovski kit, and I remember a guy coming into the store that I managed, and he was from Zimbabwe, and he was a ranger in one of the parks in Zimbabwe, and he gave me a pair of Swarovski rubber armoured, and it pretty much looked like it had been mauled by a tiger. And a lion, I meant to say there, sorry. He left it with me with the thought that we would be obviously being back in touch with him with a chargeable repair, and to his delight it came back to us, and we shipped it out to Zimbabwe, and free of charge.
Wow.
And he sent us a nice letter and said that this was before the days of email, etc. So we got a letter and just saying he was so shocked that obviously the product came back. He thought it was a brand new pair of binoculars, as Mike said earlier on. He's had that similar experience, but it came back and it was like brand new condition. So, and
is that the level of service that any Swarovski customer can expect?
I think within reason it is, yes. I mean, depending on misuse and that, you have to watch with that. If it's been kicked about the street or it's fallen off the car, which again, that's another scenario that can happen. People put them on the top of the car and drive off, and it bounces down the road. I'm not saying that would be free of charge, but it would be put back to brand new condition.
You'll take care of it
completely.
Right.
It's there, definitely.
All right, gentlemen. Any concluding thoughts?
Mike?
No, just we had a great day. There was a great turnout, very enjoyable. Everybody had a good time, I think. Seeing all the products, and come and purchase Swarovski Optik.
Yeah. Like I say, I think again, just the feedback again, just from the guys that were here today. This is something that's not really happened down this area before. It's nice, as you said yourself, Tommy, that it's nice to see all the kit on display, but like I say, it's just something a little bit different that maybe hasn't happened down this area before. And we were discussing earlier on, we would like to think we would probably do this again, maybe in the summertime. It's been a little bit cold today, but maybe even in the summer we'll do it on a summer's evening, and Michael will obviously advertise it on his Facebook page, which I'm sure you could potentially follow or whatever, and keep your eye on that to see maybe when the next range day, and it'd be nice to see maybe some other people coming along on that. So
and obviously I think that the next time there's going to be an announcement on Tommy's Outdoors webpage as well.
That'd be great.
So we can get more people. And
happy days.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
And that's it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions for Mike or Paul or to me, please feel free to ask. You can hit us up on Twitter. Tommy's Outdoors on Twitter. It's @Outdoors Podcast. Contact page on the website, tommysoutdoors.com. And obviously you can go to iTunes and Stitcher and any other platform that you're aggregating your podcast. Rate us 5 stars, of course, and leave the comments, leave the review. That's very helpful. So thanks again for listening, and until the next time. Bye.